This podcast covers topics that expand human consciousness and performance. On the Make Sense podcast, we acknowledge that it's who you are that determines how well what you do works, and that perception is a subjective and acquired taste. When you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at begin to change.
Great morning, world! Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon!
Great morning, world. This unique format will act as a tool to take your good morning and turn it into your great morning and place you as the dominant force of your days. All right, folks, ready, set, grow. Today is called Obtainment. So here is a few dragon thoughts to get us warmed up before we get started. So starting to recognize lately that, and this comes from my experience sitting with plant medicine, that there exists a world within our world. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever wondered about that? Is this all there is? That's why I say release from the typical. So when I experienced this, whole idea of sitting with plant medicine, what blew me away the most is that I didn't feel like I was on some sort of drug. A lot of people don't know that when you do things like ayahuasca. You don't feel like woozy or anything like that. As a matter of fact, you feel fine. I felt like completely coherent. However, while I was feeling completely coherent and that everything was normal, I gained access to an augmented reality. I saw some really, really crazy things going on. And it showed me that there's a lot more going on in the world than I thought in our regular world. So the only thing about that was strange is that I was the only one that could see it. So what that's done as I'm kind of like going through my warm up this morning, and I was thinking about this idea that there's a world within a world, which I think is really cool to think about. It just got me thinking, first of all, it's there, it's still there while I'm not seeing it. I know that it's still there and I just need some sort of assistance. So I like the idea. That's kind of what my Make Sense glasses are for. They actually don't even have any lenses. They're kind of a cue, but I love the idea of doing something to tap into an alternate reality because I just find that for the most part, if we think that this is all there is, that's kind of boring, right? So this is obtainment. This is my rise up. So there's an automatic process going on in our brains. And I say our, I mean yours and mine, directed by our egoic construct, right? Our ego is in charge. It's the ongoing desire to obtain. Now, we're minimalists, so we might claim that we want to obtain less, but in that statement right there, I say we want to obtain less. It's still obtainment. So obtainment, by definition, is the act of obtaining or acquiring something with voluntary action. I love that because it kind of opens up the door about how we can get anything we want. So whether it be materialistic things like money, cars, homes, to fulfill our desire to be validated and identified as a great success. Was that a little bit of a jab right there, maybe? I don't know. I live most of my life that way as well. Whether it be that, I want you to know that I don't care about things that don't matter, right? So I don't care what people want and what's important to them because that's what's important to them. But I'm just talking about the universal concept of obtainment. Or could be materialistic things, or it could be acquiring enlightenment. That could be something, or a sense of self, perhaps a higher level of consciousness, right? Bringing forth, that's going to be the name of my next book, bringing forth your purpose in life. Heck, I just did this recently, right? And I was talking about this before. I just did this recently when I went to the Amazon to sit with plant medicine. That was the idea. I was trying to obtain enlightenment, a deeper vision, a higher level of consciousness. So we're all doing it. So we're always looking to transform and add to that which we already have. That's what we're always doing. So that's an interesting thing about obtainment is it's the act of adding to which we already have. So what I like about obtainment is the lesson it teaches us in structural tension. And this is one of the takeaways for today. Such a valuable thing. A powerful top 10, meaning top 10 favorite books from the guy that reads almost 50 books a year. that I read by Robert Fritz, and it's called The Path of Least Resistance. Why wouldn't you want to read that book? Path of Least Resistance. And it teaches us this concept of structural tension. So write that down, look it up. I'll put this, a link to the book and everything will be in the show notes. By definition, this is outside, the path of least resistance is the physical or metaphorical pathway that provides the least resistance to forward motion, right? That's the path of least resistance, the least resistance to forward motion by a given object or entity among a set of alternate paths, meaning instead of alternate paths that pose resistance, we're going to take the path of least resistance. Sounds like a great idea, right? Simply put, Fritz describes the strategy of becoming aware of your true current reality. This is a valuable power move, is to actually look in the mirror and identify and accept the truth. Embrace the suck, even if the truth sucks. Embrace your current reality. It's very hard to set realistic goals of where you want to go if you don't know where you are. So very, very important to do that. Followed by the realistic decision. Now, you can dream big, but a lot of people say they want to be a millionaire and they're in debt and they want to do it in a week, right? The realistic decision of the desired state that you wish to achieve. So instead of saying goal, we're saying desired state. Once determined, we simply, that's the idea, is you can't know where you're going without knowing where you're going, right? Once determined, we simply look to build tension between our current reality and our desired state by executing only things. This is why we became minimalists. When I say I don't care about anything that doesn't matter, we only focus on things that are in support of our dreams and leverage our dreams. So when we look around our house, when we decided to be minimalists, we just said, we don't need that. What is that for, right? We started recognizing we were keeping a lot of things that didn't matter. So only things that leverage your desired state, and we only execute those things that leverage it. That's it. That's all we do with our time. And taking a nap might be that. So this requires what I've referred to in my book as sorting out of things. Sorting is the process of saying yes, no. Does this matter? Does this matter? No. Does this my control? The dichotomy of control? Or, no. So that's what sorting means. And we're always just looking for things that do or don't support our goal. So remember, this is about obtainment. If you want to learn how to obtain something, all you got to do is focus on things that leverage it into place, right? But if you are not living your dream life right now, you're still obtaining something. It's just the opposite of what you want, but you did something to get that. Fascinating. So look at this idea of obtainment in closing right now. Whether it be useful things or not, and a lot of people are obtaining non-useful things, especially with the advent of technology and social media. Heck, you can use this formula to obtain a meaningless life of procrastination, right? A lot of us complain about being procrastinators or lazy or something like that. You obtain that. You can do something today to obtain that as well, if that's what you want. So this Rise Up is a reminder that you are actually in full control. You want to know what you're in control of? Okay. You're in full control of your outcome today by controlling your actions. Whatever it is that you do today, right, is going to help you obtain something. So do you understand how important it is to know what it is that you want to obtain, what your desired state is? Because then all you have to do is just fact check and just say, am I doing things that leverage that or not? So remember that taking no action today, this is a powerful one, taking no action today to support your dreams, meaning not taking action to support your dreams, is an actual action step towards obtaining a wasted life. Isn't that interesting? Make sense? Well, I got to tell you something. It's good to be back. It's great to be back. Have a wonderful day.
Makes sense.
The Make Sense podcast is sponsored and primarily funded by the Make Sense Academy, our private community where open and curious seekers of growth and expansion apply the Make Sense principles and systems to move from simply going through life to growing through life. So check out the Make Sense Academy risk-free for less than you'll spend today on shit that you don't need. Welcome, my friends, to the uprising of the sleepwalking masses. Welcome to the Make Sense with Dr. JC Doornick podcast.
makes sense.